a lot of CEOs or executive chairman or people at the top of businesses need to make sure they're aligning their business with what's coming up in the future. So I'm going to ask you very soon about sort of where Quintessentially will be in sort of 8 to 10 years' time. But what advice would you give to CEOs, entrepreneurs that want to make sure they're aligning their business for sort of future trends? Do we all need to be futurologists, for example?
Well, futurologists, yeah, probably. We actually have set up our own incubator, which I think a lot of companies should think about doing, which is, we, going down some random thoughts, Google Labs, so this is not a new idea, it's just something that we've been playing with. They've actually honed back Google Labs and concentrating on just 3 or 4 core things that they actually want to deliver against. The same with us, we have a lot of ideas that come to us all the time. So one that we're about to launch is a group of young guys have come to us, said, we like Groupon, but there's nothing in the luxury social buying space, which I don't know if that's a contradiction in terms, whether people would perceive luxury and group buying as a concept. But actually, when you look at it, and I've studied Groupon a bit, and Living Social and all those, is that they really don't tackle this end of the market. They have some unique and interesting concepts on a daily basis, but they're so discounted and so cheap that, I know a couple of suppliers that had 800 bookings for teeth whitening, and now I can spend like 3 years delivering that service at a discounted rate because it's going to take them forever. Whereas if you had, I don't know, access to the best guy in Harley Street and there's only 50 spaces, would you pay a premium for that, for example, because you need to get in there, because he's the best, I don't know, breast augmentator in the world or teeth whitener in the world? That's an interesting one. So I don't know why I went randomly off there, but in terms of incubation, that's something that we're doing, which I think will help us. So what we do is take that idea, incubate it, finance it, and then put it out into the real world through our network. Okay. And so that's what we're thinking down the line. We've got this, it's not hugely futuristic, but it's an app that's an all-seeing, all-dancing app. So rather than having human interaction, you can do almost everything through the app, which is coming out in the next 6 months. So you can book tables and cars and hotels and flights and all of that through the app. If you need to talk to someone, then you have to become a member of Q to interact with your account manager, so that's coming. In terms of what else we've got down the pipe, as I say, we're moving quite heavily into the financial services sector just because of people moving around. But I think personally the brand will move into its own hotels. We'll own Quintessentially London, Quintessentially New York, Quintessentially Hong Kong. We've got a boat that we're building, Quintessentially One, which is a 400 million euro super yacht, which is for private members around the world, and that will have some of the best brands in the world, the Woolsey and Bougie and a couple of other brands on it. It'll be fantastic for our clients, and that will do the circuit. And it's just growing and expanding the brand in appropriate ways. In terms of what's next down, in terms of geographically, I think the century of America is over. I think it's extremely important not to ignore America in terms of the market, but it's so commoditized. It's tough to crack it. British brands find it very difficult to crack America, even though they speak the language. But I think Americans are now waking up to the fact that, if they do not work with and cooperate with, these are hugely emerging markets. One very close to them, Brazil, phenomenal growth. China, India in particular, then they are not going to be the superpower of the future. They will still be very, very significant, and it's certainly not over because they're very, very entrepreneurial.
It was interesting that you've decided the CEO of Quintessentially Concierge be based in Hong Kong, so that says it all, moving east. Back to your incubation, how you mentioned there's a lot of ideas that come through. What advice would you give to somebody for a company that wants to make sure that they are constantly innovative? I mean, a lot of your ideas that come out, are they from your employees and your, or do
we
you
have
get
ideas at Quintessentially? So you can, as an employee or a partner or anybody, can write into ideas at Quintessentially. It can be even, you know, I'd like to change the toilet paper in the toilet, through to this is a business idea. So it can be extreme, you know. We ignore all of them, of course, and take them as our own. But no, but you know, in terms of the new business threads, it's quite astonishing. So my wife's pregnant at the moment, so we're thinking about quintessentially babies and quintessentially toddlers, quintessentially adults, and quintessentially teenagers. I don't know, but we'll see. But you know, as a one-stop place to buy everything for a baby, there isn't one. You know, there isn't. There's no one authoritatively online going, we've tried and tested all of these, and we're not going to sell you anything. I don't want to sell you anything. I'm just going to advise you, because that's the new thing, I think, is that a lot of people want to feel as though they're not being sold products and services on the back of advice. So the actual advice is there, and then I can make up my own mind. So that's the type of stuff that we're developing as well.